Here are 10 tips to help you transition from SMITE 1 to SMITE 2. To fully understand this video then, you need a good understanding of SMITE 1, or at the very least how MOBAs work. If you guys want a video aimed at people brand new to MOBAs and or SMITE, let me know in the comments. But without further ado, let's go. So first and foremost, mana pots suck. Not much to say here really, I've just never ever needed one. I kind of felt like I needed one on Ullr, and when I got my blue invaded as Amaterasu, yeah, I kind of wanted one, but other than that, I've never felt like I needed one. Just skip them. And next up, remember that gods only have one form of damage each. So in SMITE 2, gods can buy any item in the game, whether it be a strength item, intelligence item, or an item with both of those. Strength and intelligence being the replacements for physical and magical power, respectively. And I think most people get it at this point, but yeah, even though a god can scale with strength, intelligence, or both, they only ever deal one form of damage. The quickest way to tell which one they use is just going to the god's page and then reading what type of damage their basic attack deals. You can also do that in game by hovering over the basic attack icon. And on the note of those items, things like Book of Thoth and Transcendence can stack now. Obviously this only applies to characters who use strength and intelligence both, like Neith and more recently Athena. But be sure to be on the lookout for item combos like this in the future, even though this currently is pretty much the only one that does this. You know, where two items sort of stack off each other directly. But hey, here's some good news. Kind of. A new ADC build appears. Remember it used to just be Kins or Crit? It's now Kins Crit, or Intelligence and Shred. Yep, that's right. The quote-unquote magical ADC build is fully viable. Maybe a little too viable. Two little troublemakers make that possible. Bracer and Braggy's Harp. These two items make it so that hybrid scaling ADCs can give their abilities and basic attacks a serious boost of damage. And yes, it is currently the strongest build in the game for ADCs. And more about items, situational items matter more than ever. And stat sticking is almost completely gone in SMITE 2. Stat sticks, which if you don't know, were items that were simply bought because of their stats, and not their passive or whatever, barely exist in SMITE 2, so you're really going to need to take your time and read through the items if you want to construct the best build every single match. Of course, as per usual, ADCs and mid laners tend to only have one best build for them, while tanks, bruisers, and assassins are the ones that actually, need to know the items and read them, to make sure they're countering everything they need to counter. But I digress. Let's move on to relics. Your relics are limited to only one now, but there are active items instead though. Having one relic can really suck sometimes. Beads Aegis was like the way to live in SMITE 1, and now you have to choose only one. But that means that Blink is actually a viable all-rounder option. You don't need to cleanse CC with Purification Beads or negate damage with Aegis if no abilities land on you in the first place because you've already teleported away. However, to compensate there are active items which have similar effects to relics or relics from SMITE 1. That being things like Talisman of Purification, which is like beads, in an AoE around you, Pharaoh's Curse, which is like a horrific emblem, Hide of the Nemean Lion, which is like thorns, and so on. Things like Talisman of Purification are so strong that you can see damage dealers, such as mages, sometimes buy it if the CC becomes too excessive. So if you're really missing that second relic slot, take a look at the active items to save the day potentially. But also remember, your opponents only have one relic too. Always use to your advantage the lack of relics an individual may have. If a Zeus has, say, a Blink, he might be able to survive one gank, but he can't walk out of tower for the next 240 seconds since he's a sitting duck. This was true in SMITE 1 as well, but it's even more true here in SMITE 2 since every god only has that one relic to fall back on throughout the entirety of the match. So when the game gets late and the damage gets crazy, one relic will not save any character from getting caught in the jungle or alone in a lane. And on that note, Burst is the name of the game. There is a lot of damage here in SMITE 2, like so much. Imagine the shock of the 9.5 version earlier this year only turned up to 11. So when transferring to SMITE 2, don't underestimate your own damage, but also, especially when it comes to potential 1v2 outplays, don't forget how much damage the enemy deals as well. And speaking of 1v2 outplays, let's talk about those teleporters on the sides of the map. These side teleporters may seem like cheese or window dressing at first, but they are 100% mandatory for you to use to properly play SMITE 2. They are brand new in SMITE 2, and you need to get used to incorporating them in all of your movements in SMITE 2. Assist a teammate getting ganked, perform a gank yourself, help your teammates chase down an enemy who got caught invading, and so on and so on. There are literally thousands of reasons to use these teleporters, and to excel in SMITE 2, you need to be using them at every single opportunity to optimize your plays. And speaking of which, objectives are now easier than ever. This is partly thanks to teleporters. A solo laner teleports, easily wipes out the dual lane, naturally you want to do Gold Fury. And the thing is in SMITE 2, once everyone has at least their first item, it's totally doable. It's not like SMITE 1 where you have to have 1,000 different parameters to take out an objective safely. Here, the objectives go down fast. Not so fast that you can just do them willy-nilly, you should still place wards and get advantage by way of killing enemies in that respective side of the map, and so on. But the objectives die so much faster in this game. So to sum up, Smite 2, the game is faster. Faster kills, teleporters available to everyone, and easier to kill objectives. If I were to boil down Smite 2 to one single tip, be prepared to up your game pace, because if you try to play slow in Smite 2, you'll get left in the dust. Again, let me know if you guys want a 10 tips video for brand new MOBA players, and let me know of any tips you would have included. Thank you for watching.